When we think about prehistoric cavemen, we instantly picture them wrapped in heavy, thick animal, but evolutionary science reveals a highly surprising truth. Humans did not invent. For millions of years, our ancient hominid ancestors roamed the African savannas. Losing our thick protective body hair was a crucial evolutionary step that allowed us to swim. However, shedding that thick coat of natural hair left our sensitive skin exposed to navigating through thick, thorny bushes and sharp, jagged rocks caused frequent, painful cuts. In a prehistoric world without antibiotics, even a minor flesh scratch could easily lead. Initial attempts at skin defense likely involved slapping thick mud and clay across the body. This crude mud layer provided temporary relief, but it washed away during intense. Biting insects like mosquitoes and flies posed another continuous, maddening. Then, during a routine hunting harvest, a brilliant accidental discovery completely. Hunters noticed that handling the leftover animal pelts provided an instant, durable shield. By simply draping a raw hide over their shoulders, they created the world's first prototype cloak. But unrefined animal skin possesses a massive technical flaw. It rots and stiffens. When dried under the hot sun, untreated hide becomes as rigid and unyielding as armor. To make these skins wearable, early humans had to invent the complex process of tanning. Using sharp flint scrapers, they spent hours meticulously removing fat and decaying flesh. This heavy physical labor prevented the skin from spoiling and smelling intensely unpleasant. They discovered that pounding the hides with smooth, heavy rocks split up rigid internal fibers. Rubbing animal fats and oils directly into the scraped leather made it incredibly soft. This intense tanning method transformed a raw waste product into highly valuable. Initially, these processed hides were tied crudely around the waist using flexible vine rope. This minimal waist design kept their arms entirely free to run, gather, and throw weapons. But clothing quickly solved an entirely different operational problem: the need to carry items. Early gatherers realized that folding a portion of the leather skirt inward created a pocket. Suddenly, they could store sharp flint tools, wild nuts, and extra kindling completely hands. This simple utility storage increased foraging efficiency, allowing individuals to. As groups successfully migrated further out of Africa, the global climate mutated radically. They encountered biting northern winds and dense frost layers they had never experienced. The minimal waist wraps were no longer sufficient to keep human core body temperature stable. To combat the lethal freezing elements, the tailoring revolution had to occur. Ancient designers invented the bone awl, punching clean tiny holes through thick leather margins. The master technological leap was the creation of the fine-eyed bone needle. This needle allowed them to weave continuous seams, joining multiple separate hides into. They crafted the world's first form-fitting, multi-piece trousers and long-sleeve shirts. These stitched suits trapped body heat efficiently, acting as artificial microclimates for the body. With this tailored thermal technology, Homo sapiens easily colonized the frozen Earth. Other hominids like Neanderthals primarily used loose capes, limiting their geographic. Our fine tailoring skills provided a major evolutionary edge that secured global. But as clothing became an everyday reality, a profound social shift occurred. Garments completely covered the bare human body, giving rise to the modern concept of public nudity evolved from a natural baseline state into something culturally private. More importantly, what you wore turned into a powerful method of instant visual communication. Prehistoric bands began coloring their soft tan leathers using rich mineral pigments. They rubbed red ochre directly into the leather seams to create bold decorative tribal stripes. These vivid color patterns functioned exactly like modern national flags or teams. From a distance, a traveling stranger could immediately identify exactly which group you belong. This immediate visual processing was essential for preventing accidental territorial. Clothing also evolved into humanity's very first canvas for displaying personal status. A highly successful master hunter would stitch dangerous predator claws into their neck collar. This predatory display instantly signaled immense physical strength, skill, and hunting. Tribal elders began wearing unique rare pelts, like spotted leopard coats, to signify. They spent hundreds of tedious hours drilling precise holes into tiny seashells. These punctured shells were laced onto hide borders, creating beautiful rattling fringes. Wearing valuable shell beads transported from distant coastlines proved your clan held. Fashion became our earliest permanent method of telling the world who we were. The simple practical necessity of defense had completely evolved into a highly layered. Even romantic attraction patterns adapted to this new world of prehistoric design. Finely crafted or beautifully colored robes signaled that a partner was highly capable. To trace the exact timeline of this fashion explosion, scientists use a unique detector. Because soft leather and ancient furs rot completely away, fossils tell us almost nothing. Instead, genetic researchers decided to meticulously study the evolutionary tree of head lice have lived in human hair for millions of years without changing their habits. But a completely new species, body lice, specifically evolved to live exclusively inside. By calculating exactly when body lice split away from head lice, DNA researchers, the generic molecular clock data places this split around 83,000 years ago. This genetic timestamp aligns perfectly with our massive migration push into freeze. Clothing was the essential technological catalyst that transformed us into a truly global. As we mastered different environments, our fabrication methods became increasingly. Coastal tribes pioneered making flexible protective cloaks out of dried ocean kelp leaves. They carefully dried the saltwater reeds, braiding them into strong, water-resistant capes. Deep jungle populations harvested inner tree bark, pounding it flat to create soft cloth. This beaten bark fabric was lightweight and breathable, ideal for surviving dense tropical. Every geographical zone forced its human populations to think like technical engineers. Clothing design became highly synchronized with local ecology, botany, and seasonal. We were no longer just passive components of ecosystems. We were actively modifying how the transition to sedentary agricultural farming. Communities thousands of years later, humans successfully domesticated wool-bearing sheep and flax fields to harvest fine. They invented the heavy spinning spindle, turning raw loose plant fluff into continuous strands. The majestic breakthrough of the vertical loom allowed for weaving proper textile sheets. Woven cloth textiles were significantly lighter, cooler, and simpler to clean than old. This technological leap caused animal skins to rapidly lose their central role in fur coats transformed into premium luxury items, reserved strictly for wealthy kings. Class structure was now permanently baked directly into the material fabric of human society. What you wore told everyone exactly what level of the social pyramid you occupied. Looking back, the evolution of fashion is a mirror reflecting our entire intellectual development. We started with bare skin, completely exposed to the whims of natural world systems. We advanced to rough, raw hides, harvested purely to buffer friction scratches and insects. We engineered intricate bone needles, weaving custom warm insulation to conquer global. And then, we transformed that defensive gear into a highly sophisticated canvas. Every outfit choice you make today roots back thousands of years to these ancient campfires. Your favorite jacket or specific choice of sneakers is functioning exactly like tribal oak. We are still continuously telling our community stories, using the texturized fabrics on our back. The surprising truth is that human clothing was never just a mechanical barrier against. It was an essential cognitive milestone, where human imagination began reshaping our. We remolded our skins to signal our values, our groups, and our individual hunting success. Next time you pick out an outfit, remember the ancient bone-all creators who started it all. Our modern, massive global textile industries are directly built on top of these. Our early ancestors managed to navigate this incredible technological milestone, and that is the exact, surprising story of how clothing transformed from a basic skin protection